We would like to thank our choreographer, Ms. Christine Baer, our high school administrators who are here this afternoon, Dr. Robinson and Mrs. Girolami, and the Spring Musical Boosters for all their support. We hope you enjoy the rest of the show. Thank you very much.
So maybe now this prayer's the last one of its kind. Won't you please come get your baby? Maybe.
Thank you, Annie. Thank you, Annie. On America's favorite radio program, The Occident Hour of Smiles, starring your old softie, Bert Healy. A moment of tears.
Thank you, Bert Healy.
But still, remember, folks.
Smile, darn you, smile.
Right, Wacky. Smile, darn ya, smile.
Why, it's none other than wealthy industrialist and Wall Street tycoon Oliver Warbucks.
Good evening, Oliver Warbucks. It's nice of you to join us.
Good evening, Bert Healy. It's nice to be here.
Oliver Warbucks. Now, I understand that you have something to tell the folks at home about the wonderful little Annie here.
Yes, Bert Healy. Annie is a 13-year-old foundling who was left by her parents on the steps of New York's municipal orphanage on the night of December 31st, 1920.
And aren't you now conducting a coast-to-coast nationwide search for Annie's parents?
Yes, I am now conducting a coast-to-coast nationwide search for Annie's parents. Furthermore, I'm offering a certified check for $50,000 to anyone who can prove to be Annie's parents.
Wow!
$50,000. Wow, Oliver Warbucks.
Boy, oh boy, 50,000 smackers. quiet, Wacky. This is no joke. I know, Mr. McQuacken. Everything you say is no joke. And you move your lips, too.
So Annie's parents, if you're listening in, write to Oliver Warbucks, care of this station, WEAF, New York, New York, or directly to him at
my home, Bert Healy, 987 Fifth Avenue, New York, New York.
That's 987 Fifth Avenue, New York, New York. Thank you, Oliver Warbucks.
Thank you, Bert Healy. I would also like to thank the makers of Oxidant toothpaste. With all new K64 to help fight bad breath, for letting me appear here this evening. Good night, Bert Healy.
Good night, Oliver Warbucks. So, Annie's parents, if you're listening in, there's $50,000 and a wonderful little girl here waiting for you. Well, I see by the old clock on that wall that another one of our Thursday night get-togethers has gone by faster than you can say Oxidant. The toothpaste of the stars to make your teeth Hollywood bright. So, for all of the Hour of Smiles family, Ronnie, Bonnie, and Connie, the Boylan sisters, Fred McCracken,
And Wacky! And Jimmy Johnson, radio's only masked announcer.
this is Bert Healy saying, Hey, hobo man, hey, dapper Dan, you both got your style, but brother, you're never fully dressed without a smile. Your clothes may be Beau Brummely, they stand out a mile, but brother, you're never fully dressed without a smile. Who cares what they're wearing on Main Street or Savile Row? It's what you wear from ear to ear, and not from head to toe, that matters. So senator, so janitor, so long for a while, remember you're never fully dressed without a smile.
Ready or not, here he goes. Listen to Bert tap his smiling toes.
Ah, the lovely Boylan sisters.
Your clothes may be Beau Brummely, they stand out a mile, but brother, you're never fully dressed, you're never dressed without an M-R-E smile, darn ya.
Yes, this is your old softie, Mrs. Healy's boy Bert, saying, until next week, same time, same station. Bonsoir, buenas noches, guten Nacht, buonasera. And gosh, I almost forgot. Good night. That matters.
Gee, Annie on the radio, coast to coast. She's famous.
I wish I was on the radio.
Me too.
Not me. Who wants to be on the dumb old radio anyhow?
I do. So for all the Hour of Smiles family, this is Bert Healy saying, Hey, hobo man, hey, dapper Dan, you both got your style, but brother, you're never fully dressed without a smile. Your clothes may be Beau Brummely, they stand out a mile, but brother, you're never fully dressed without a smile. Who cares what they're wearing on Main Street or Savile Row? It's what you wear from ear to ear, and not from head to toe.
That matters.
Ah, the lovely Boylan sisters. So senator, so janitor, so long for a while, remember you're never fully dressed without a smile. Did I hear happiness in here?
No, Miss Hannigan.
What the hell are you doing up?
Annie was on the radio.
On WEAF! Yeah, I heard her! Next thing you know, she'll be on the movies! Now go to bed!
Yes, Miss Hannigan.
Ow! She never misses. $50,000. Dear God, what I couldn't do with $50,000. I hate that Annie so much. You'd think I was her mother.
Excuse us, ma'am. Are you the woman that works at this here orphanage?
Yeah, so what?
Oh, Ralph, I'm scared. Something could happen to her.
Hush, Cheryl. Everything's gonna be all right, Cheryl. She's gonna be here, and she's gonna be ours again. Say, ma'am, was he working here 11 years ago?
Yeah, so what?
Well, we had terrible troubles back then. We had to head north, to Canada, and we had to leave our baby here, on the front stoop.
Or little girl. Or Annie.
Annie? You're Annie's parents?
Yes, ma'am, we are.
Please, nothing's happened to her.
No, well, it's just... Wait, where'd you say you was from again?
We come from a little farm up in Canada, where they've got lots of chickens and ducks and geese and roosters. Fooled you, sis.
Rooster, I would have never known it was you in a million years.
Gotcha, and we're gonna fool Warbucks too.
Get ourselves 50,000 big ones.
This is gonna be the best bunco job ever, Aggie. See, I know a guy out in Brooklyn who can doctor up a fake birth certificate or any other papers you want. But we need your help, sis, for details about Annie that can really help us pull this thing off.
Details I can get you, Rooster, but what's in it for me?
Three-way split.
Half.
Half?
Half. Straight down the middle, 25 grand each. But we gotta do it fast, Aggie. Give him some of the old rooster razzle-dazzle. In, out, 2-3 minutes at the most. Get the kid, get the money, and get the hell out of town.
Rooster, the kid, that's the problem. What do we do once we got her?
Aggie, that's no problem. See, when I want something to disappear, I make it disappear. For good. We get the 50 grand, we blow this crummy town, then Lil Me'll meet you.
Where? Oh, yeah.
Easy Street, Easy Street. Annie is the key. Yes, sirree, yes, sirree, yes, sirree. Easy Street, Easy Street. That's where we're gonna be.
Somebody go get Jimmy. Tell Jimmy.
And has so far lived up to none of his lofty expectations, Franklin Delano Roosevelt and his so-called Brain trust is just a great deal of high-flown talk and virtually no action. In a nation racked by poverty, misery, and unemployment, it is deeds we want from the White House, not words. In short, Mr. President, if you're listening in, we've had enough of your fireside chats. It's time to crack down.
Damn it, nothing but criticism.
I know.
It's awful.
Did anyone read the Washington Post this morning?
My friends, I say again, we have nothing to fear but fear itself. Every cloud has a silver lining. You're never fully dressed without a smile.
Oliver Warbucks friend, Franklin.
Ah, yes, Oliver. Good of you to have come.
Good morning, Mr. President.
And who's this we have here?
Mr. President, this is my good friend Annie. She wanted to meet you. I just couldn't resist bringing her along, just to say hello.
Ah, yes, Annie. Annie! Yes, Annie, the girl sang so lovely on the radio last night. How do you do, Annie?
How do you do, President Roosevelt?
Why, Annie, you're just as pretty in person as you sound on the radio.
Thank you, President Roosevelt.
Well then, Oliver, should we get down to business?
Yes, Annie, I'll just be a moment if you'll...
No, Oliver. Let Annie stay. Having a child around will keep us on our best behavior.
Thank you, Mr. President. Annie?
Well, Oliver, you know everyone already, but Annie, let me introduce you. This is my friend and aide, Louis Howe. This is General Stimson, Secretary of the Interior, Ickes, Secretary of State, Cordell Hall, Secretary of Labor, Perkins, Justice Brandeis of the Supreme Court, and Acting Secretary of the Treasury, Morgenthau, and the lovable and lovely Staff Sergeant North. Gotta love him. Well now, since you represent those happy few Americans that still have any money left, why don't we start with your opinion on matters?
Well, Mr. President, in the words of Calvin Coolidge, the business of this country is business. And for the good of you, the country, Wall Street, and me, we gotta get the factories open and the workers back to work.
According to my latest figures, there are now 15 million Americans out of work and nearly 50 million with no visible means of support.
Mr. President, if I may say so, unemployment is not our worst problem. The dispatches from Germany are becoming more and more threatening each day. There could be war.
Germany, hell. People are starving in this country.
I know, Howard, but in the long run...
In the long run? For people who are starving, there is no long run.
The problem is, it's all happening at once. The stock market has taken another nosedive.
Sit-down strikes, riots, floods, dust storms. And the FBI still hasn't found Capone.
Well, gentlemen, it seems we're all agreed on one thing. The situation is horrible and getting worse.
The sun will come out tomorrow. That's your bottom dollar that tomorrow there'll be sun.
Quiet, little girl.
Ickes. Oh, go ahead, Annie. It's still a free country.
Just thinking about tomorrow clears away the cobwebs and the sorrow till there's none. When I'm stuck with a day that's gray and lonely, I just stick out my chin and grin and say, oh, the sun will come out tomorrow, so you gotta hang on till tomorrow. Come what may, tomorrow, I love ya tomorrow, you're always a day away.
Harold Ickes, stand up.
What?
You heard me, stand up. Now, Harold, sing.
Sing.
You heard me, sing like Annie. I've decided that if my administration's going to be one thing, it's going to be optimistic about the future of this country. Now sing.
But Franklin, you know that I...
Sing!
The sun will come out
Louder!
tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow...
Perkins!
There'll be sun.
Just thinking about tomorrow clears away the cobwebs and the sorrow till there's none.
So for the president, it's a day that's gray and lonely, and just stick up my chin and grin And say, everyone, Republicans too, Oliver, sing!
The sun'll come out tomorrow, so you gotta hang on till tomorrow. Come what may, tomorrow, tomorrow, I love ya tomorrow, you're always a day away. Tomorrow, tomorrow, I love ya tomorrow, you're always a day away.
Telegram, Franklin.
Ah, yes. Well, this isn't for me, it's for you, Oliver. Hundreds of couples jamming streets outside house, all claiming to be Annie's parents, have begun screening them. Suggest you return to New York at once. Signed, your secretary, Grace Farrell.
Well, Annie, it appears as though the Hour of Smiles has more listeners than we thought.
Gee, hundreds of couples. Oh, one of them is bound to be my mother and father.
Well, Oliver, as much as I'm enjoying your company, and especially yours, Annie, I suggest you return to New York immediately.
Yes, Mr. President, if you don't mind. Annie?
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, Mr. President. And thank you.
No, thank you, Annie. You're the type of person a president ought to have around.
Mr. President, why don't we set up 100 or 1,000 federal projects?
Dams.
Highways.
New post offices.
Put the unemployed back to work building them.
We could create 5 million new jobs in a matter of 6 months.
And weekly paychecks could get millions off relief and back to paying taxes.
We could build a country so strong that nobody, including Chancellor Hitler, could ever beat us in a war.
And the FBI found Babyface Nelson. They're bound to find Capone. Mr. President, what we need to do is give this country nothing less than a new outlook.
A new vision.
A new approach.
A new concept.
A new dedication.
A new horizon.
A new attitude.
A new spirit.
A new deal! Gentlemen, Perkins, I was right all along. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
You're right, Franklin. Tomorrow, tomorrow, I love ya tomorrow, you're always a day away. Tomorrow, tomorrow, I love ya tomorrow, you're always a day away.
Pardon me, Miss Farrell, but I'm afraid there's still no sign of Miss Annie and Mr. Warbucks.
Drake, look at all these questionnaires. Do you realize I've talked to 627 women who've claimed to be Annie's mother, and 619 men that said they're her father? That makes, let me see.
1,246, to be precise.
All liars. Drake, I never realized there were so many dishonest people on the island of Manhattan.
Well, miss, I mean... Well, some of them were from the Bronx. Good Lord.
Grace, we're back.
Where are they, Miss Farrell? Where are all the people?
They're gone, dear. Come and gone. I'm so sorry, Annie. They were all liars and fakes, after nothing but the $50,000.
Aw, gee.
Are you certain?
Yes, I'm sure, sir. None of them knew about her locket.
I was sure somebody was going to be my mother and father.
Sir, this just arrived by special messenger from the FBI.
Ah, finally. Agent Ness has located the manufacturer of Annie's locket in Utica, New York.
Oh, boy!
That sort of locket was manufactured between 1918 and 1924.
Sort of locket?
Yes. Over 90,000 were made and sold.
Aw, gee.
Annie, I'm sorry, but the gist of this is that Agent Ness doesn't think there's a chance in a billion of locating your parents through this locket. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I mean, gee, you did the best you could. If you can't find them, nobody can. Anyway, I guess a kid could get along without folks. I mean, look at you. You did just fine. You got everything. All them Duesenbergs hanging on the wall.
Excuse us, sir. We'll go check on the dinner menu.
Annie, a Rembrandt is a painting. A Duesenberg is a car. Lou Gehrig is the first baseman for the New York Yankees. And there's something else you should know. I've made me a fortune. That fortune made 10. Been headlined and profiled again and again. But something was missing. I never quite knew. That something was someone but who. My speeches are greeted with thunderous acclaim at 2 universities bearing my name. Yes, something was missing each time I got through. That something was someone but who could that someone be? How could she make it known? Who would need me for me, need me for me alone? The world was my oyster, but where was the pearl? Who dreamed I would find it in one little girl? Yes, something was missing, but dreams can come true. That something is no one but you. Not bad for an old man, huh?
No, sir.
Who would need me for me, need me for me alone? The world was my oyster, but where was the pearl? Who dreamed I would find it in one little girl? Yes, something was missing, but dreams can come true. That something is no one but you. Grace,
Yes, sir?
do you have those legal papers I gave you the other day?
Yes, sir. I'll get them right away, sir.
No, wait, Grace, I want you to stay for a moment. I haven't waltzed since the inauguration of William Howard Taft. Annie, I want to adopt you.
Adopt me?
Yes or no?
If I can't have my real mother and father, there's no one in the world I'd rather have for a father than you, Mr. Warbucks.
Drake,
Yes, sir.
call Justice Brandeis to come over to sign the adoption papers.
Why, yes, sir.
And Grace,
Yes, sir?
tell Mrs. Pugh we're to have a house full of guests. We'll need flowers, caviar, and champagne.
And cheese.
Cheese.
Yes, cheese. You know, cheese.
Grace, are you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Annie, this isn't just going to be an adoption, it's going to be a celebration. And you can have anyone in the world you want there. Who would you like? Andrew Mellon? Madam Chiang Kai-shek? Lou Gehrig?
Anybody in the world? Well, gee, I guess I'd like Miss Farrell here, and Mr. Drake, and Miss Pugh, and, well, I guess I'd like everybody here.
Of course. That's who I'd like too. Drake,
Yes, sir.
tell the staff to get spiffed up. There to be guests at Annie's adoption party.
Very well, sir.
Oh, and the kids?
Oh, Annie, I'm afraid it'll be far past their bedtime. But I'll tell you what, we're gonna have everyone over for a special Christmas party tomorrow morning.
Miss Hannigan, too?
Miss Hannigan too, sure, why not?
Everyone's spiffed up for the party.
Good. Grace,
Yes, sir?
I think Annie, why Grace, that's a very pretty dress.
Why, thank you, sir.
I think Annie should get spiffed up too. Have Annette take her upstairs and put her into one of her new dresses. And have Cecile do something with her hair. I don't know, take her upstairs and gussy her up.
Yes, sir. Gussy her up.
Gossy her up, gossy her up, gossy her up, gossy her up. Annie, Annie, Annie.
Everything's humming now.
Good times are coming now since you came our way. It's Christmas, Christmas every day. We dismiss bad times, sad times. Now they're all yesterday's news since Annie kicked out the blues. Rockefeller's got barrels of money. We've got Annie, look what you've done for us. Big promoters get Dempsey attorney. We've got Annie, turn on the fun for us. Clement's got swing.
Benny's lucky.
By far, by far, by far. Mine has got Jeff and Eleanor FDR. Judge Brandeis.
Why, Judge Brandeis has just arrived.
Annie, Annie, you fill our lives with a song.
Hi, friends. Welcome to the happiest night of my life.
Annie, Annie, you fill our lives with a song.
Annie, I'm the luckiest man in the world.
And I'm the luckiest kid. Together at last, together forever. We're tying a knot they never can sever.
I don't need sunshine now to turn my skies to blue.
I don't need anything but you.
You've wrapped me around that cute little finger. You've made life a song. You've made me the singer.
And what's that better tune you always ba-ba-boo?
Ba-ba-ba. Anything but you.
Yesterday was plain awful.
You can say that again.
Yesterday was plain awful.
But that's
Not now, that's then. I'm poor as a mouse.
I'm richer than Midas.
But nothing on earth could ever divide us. And if tomorrow I'm an apple seller too, I don't need anything but you.
Hamlet needed his mother.
Warwick needed his
shop. All they'll need is his brother.
Or else
He'd go
kerplop.
We're two of a kind, the happiest pair now. Like Fred and Adele, we're floating on air now.
And once the tide of the dream that's just came true, I don't need
anything.
anything.
I don't need anything but you.
Now, Oliver, Annie, it's very simple. The adoption process is about to begin.
Sir?
Yes.
Sir?
Excuse us, folks. Shirley, look. There's our Annie.
Who are you? Honey, we're your mom and dad.
Mudge. Mudge is the name. Ralph Mudge. And this here is the wife, Shirley.
You never knew it, dear, but you're Annie Mudge.
Annie Mudge.
Yeah, we was sick and broke, honey, and didn't know which way to turn. And a man offered us a job up in Canada.
But we couldn't bring along no baby.
Right, we loved you, Annie, but we had to leave you behind.
Mr. Mudge, is it? We've seen a great number of people who've
Proof.
been...
I expect you'll be wanting proof of who we are. Here's our driver's licenses and Annie's birth certificate.
Baby girl, named Anne Elizabeth Mudge, born to Ralph and Shirley Mudge, New York, New York, October 28th, 1920.
October 28th. That's my birthday.
It wasn't her note, sir.
Yes, I know, but I still don't...
Mister, please, you gotta believe us. We arrived in on the Greyhound this afternoon and came straight to the orphanage to fetch our Annie. And the lovely lady there said our baby was up here.
Oh, Annie, all the years I dreamed of holding you in my arms again.
Mr. Mudge, on the night you left Annie at the
Here's
orphanage...
something you wouldn't know about. But when we left Annie at the orphanage, we left with her half a silver locket and kept the other half.
Ralph, look, Annie's wearing it.
And here's the part we kept. Oh yes, fits perfectly.
Oh, thank God, Ralph, she's our Annie.
She seems to be.
She is. Well, if you get Annie's things together, we'll be taking her along now.
Take her.
No!
Just a moment, Mr. Mudge. What about the money?
Well, we don't have much, but we'd be glad to give you whatever.
You mean you haven't heard that I've offered a certified check for $50,000 to anyone who can prove to be Annie's parents?
No, we don't know nothing about no check. Besides, we don't want no money for Annie.
Right, we don't want no money for Annie.
On the other hand, Charles, remember that little pig farm out in New Jersey? Well, with $50,000, we can buy that farm and raise Annie upright in the country with fresh air, fresh eggs.
Oh, fresh ham!
Fresh ham. Certified, huh? All I gotta do is make the check out to myself?
Yes, that's right. Tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning?
Yes, well, you wouldn't mind if Annie stayed until tomorrow morning, Christmas. And then you can come back and pick up Annie and the check.
Oh.
Oh, well, whatever you prefer, sir. Well, we gotta be getting back to our motel now.
Bye, Annie, love.
Until tomorrow morning, honey, and then you'll be spending the rest of your life with us.
Season's greetings.
Merry Christmas. Oops, pardon me, Toots.
Well, this is wonderful news.
Yes, wonderful.
Wonderful.
Annie has found her parents, and they seem to be a very nice couple.
Yes,
Very nice.
Very nice. You're lucky, Annie.
Right. I'm lucky. Just think. New Jersey.
Drake,
Sir?
champagne.
Yes, sir.
We must celebrate, because it's Christmas Eve and we've just heard the most wonderful news in the world. Annie has found her mother and father. My friends, I propose a toast. To Annie Mudge.
To Annie Mudge. Annie!
Merry Christmas, everyone!
Merry Christmas.
Well, I seem to have that effect on everybody.
I've lost her. I've lost Annie.
That Mr. Mudge, sir? I think I've seen him someplace before. I just can't remember where or when. But I have the strangest feeling he's not who he says he is.
Mr. President, Franklin, I need your help.
What can I do for you, Oliver?
Silly to cry, nothing to fear. Betcha where they live's as nice as right here. Betcha my life is gonna be swell. Looking at them, it's easy to tell. And maybe I'll forget how nice he was to me, and how I was almost his baby. Maybe.
Merry Christmas, Annie.
Merry Christmas, Annie.
Merry Christmas, Mr. Warbucks, Miss Farrell.
You're up early?
Yes, my folks will be coming for me. Guess they'll be taking me out to the country, so I thought I'd wait for them here. Will you come see me sometimes?
Yes, I'll see you, Annie.
You're up early, too.
Well, we never went to bed. FBI men coming and going. We had quite a time of it, too. Annie, did you know that President Roosevelt is here?
Really?
Really. Annie, I have something very difficult to tell you, and the President is going to help me tell it to you.
Merry Christmas, President Roosevelt.
Merry Christmas, Annie.
Franklin?
Yes, Annie. Through your locket and the handwriting on your note, FBI Director Hoover was successful in tracing the identity of your parents.
Right, we already know. Mr. and Mrs. Mudge.
No, Annie, those weren't your parents. Your parents were David and Margaret Bennett.
David and Margaret Bennett? Well, where are they?
Annie.
Annie, your parents passed away many years ago.
You mean they're dead?
Yes, dear.
So I'm an orphan after all, like the other kids.
Annie, are you all right?
Yes. You see, I guess I always knew my folks were dead because I knew they loved me, and they would have come back for me if they weren't.
I love you, Annie Bennett.
And I love you, too. Now, who the heck are Ralph and Shirley Mudge?
That a girl? Who the heck are Ralph and Shirley Mudge?
Well, the birth certificate could have easily been forged. But the thing is, they knew about your locket.
But nobody knew about the locket. Except for us. And the FBI, of course.
And Miss Hannigan.
And Miss Hannigan.
And Miss Hannigan.
Miss Hannigan, sir, and the children from the orphanage. Good Lord.
Oh, my goodness.
Look at all these kids. Oh, God, the floors are going to be cleaned again. Oh, God.
Wow. Hi, kids. Hey!
Miss Hannigan, it's nice to meet you.
You too. I'd recognize you anywhere. You're the Oliver Warbucks, huh?
Yes. Miss Hannigan, let me introduce you to everyone. You know my secretary, Miss Farrell, of course. And this is the President of the United States. And this is my butler, Drake.
Gee, what a great place. Nah, who wouldn't live in a big old dump like this anyhow? Look, kids, there's presents back there for everybody. Oh, gee.
So this just arrived from the FBI.
Comes the dawn. Now it all fits together.
Annie, would you come look at this, please?
Leaf band lizards. Who would have guessed?
Mr. and Mrs. Mudge.
Show them in.
With pleasure, sir.
Franklin?
No, Eleanor can wait.
Oh, won't you please come in?
Good morning. Merry Christmas, one and all.
Merry Christmas.
Well, we don't want to bother you on Christmas and all. We just came to pick up Annie's suitcase and, the check.
Ah, yes, the check I'd almost forgotten. Here it is. $50,000 certified.
$50,000 certified. Paid to the order of Ralph Mudge.
Read it again.
Paid to the order of... The jig is up!
Yes, that's right. The jig is up. Daniel Francis Hannigan, also known as...
Brewster Hannigan, also known as Ralph Mudge, also known as Danny the Dip.
Mr. President, I believe that fraud is a federal offense, that your Secret Service men have the power to arrest.
Yes, Oliver, they certainly do. Take them away, Staff Sergeant.
Get your hands off me.
And I believe you'll find that that woman is their accomplice. Arrest her too, please.
Well, me? I've never seen these goons until yesterday.
Oh, come off it, Aggie.
Yeah, sis, if me and Lil's taking a fall, then so is you.
Mr. Warbucks. Oliver. Annie, honey. Annie, tell him how good I always was to ya.
I'm sorry, Miss Hannigan, but remember the one thing you always told me. Never tell a lie.
You little brat! I'll let you in on a secret, honey. I never liked ya, you gold digger. Get your hands off me.
The jig is up, Miss Hannigan.
Honey, we'd like to meet your friends now.
Kids, I'd like you to meet Miss Grace Farrell. Hello.
Hi, kids.
And this is Mr. Daddy Warbucks. Hello.
Hi, kids.
Oh, and this is the President of the United States.
Hi, kids.
Kids, I have great news. Miss Hannigan is gone for good. Hooray!
And you won't have to work anymore. Hooray! Instead, you'll have classrooms and teachers.
But listen, kids, no more mush. Hooray!
Yes, kids, for you and perhaps for all of us, this Christmas is going to be the beginning of a wonderful new life. I know the depression's depressing,
The carols are sealed, the stores are filled,
and windows are minus their dressing.
the children don't grin, the Santas are thin.
And I've heard a terrible rumor, no goodwill, no cheer, but we'll get a new deal for Christmas this year.
The snowflakes are frightened of falling, and no wooden fix, no peppermint sticks.
And all through the land folks are bawling,
And filled with despair, 'cause cupboards are bare.
but Santa's got brand new assistants. There's nothing to fear. We're getting a new deal for Christmas this year.
Bum 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 bum.
On Farley and Perkins, on Ickes and Wallace, on Morgenthau and Cummings,
Fill our pockets with dollars.
on Roper and Swanson, get along Cordell Ho,
Get along, giddy up.
Hoyer from Lydia,
Build every city up. Cheer every kitty up. Fill every stocking with laughter. We haven't got room for any more gloom. Let's ring every bell from its rafter.
And shine across the land
Tomorrow's at hand.
those happy days that we were promised.
are finally here. We're
Getting a new deal for Christmas. We're getting a new deal for Christmas. We're getting a new deal for Christmas. We're getting a new deal for Christmas.
Christmas.